Hey, today I'm going to teach you how to do more on factoring second degree polynomials. These are the extreme booger problems that I lovingly refer to. And is what you're going to find in chapter 10:7. Now, you're going to have problems like what you've seen before. In chapter 9, you would have gotten the problem 2x plus 3 times 7x plus 10, okay? And you would have done the FOIL method. And when you did the FOIL method, you would have ended up with 14x squared plus your outside terms, 20x, your inside terms, 21x, and your last terms, 30. When you combine your two middle terms, you end up with 41x. And so you would get the polynomial 14x squared plus 41x plus 30. Now, of course, in chapter 10, this is what you're going to see in your book. And this is the answer they're going to expect you to find through factoring. Now, the booger problems you've done up until this point have only had an x squared here. You haven't had anything in front of the x squared. And that is what makes all of the difference. Now, your book teaches you basically a guessing method, which I learned when I was in school and I have used year after year after year into teaching students because obviously it does work. However, I'm going to teach you a method that's referred to as the ABC method and also factoring by grouping. And I'm going to teach you this method because I think it's a little bit more, scientific method sort of thing, where you kind of just do a method and you're guaranteed of finding the answer without a lot of frustrating guessing. Now, you may be very good at guessing and seeing what the answer is, and so if you choose to do it like the book, I'm certainly not going to penalize you, but I thought you might enjoy learning a different method. Let's say we started with this problem, 6x squared plus 17x plus 5. Now, you guys know that our standard form of an equation is ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? And so if we follow that, then we know that this 6 is the a, and the 17, or the coefficient of x, is b, and then the c, or the constant, is 5. Okay, and we're going to be using the ABC method, so you're going to need to recognize this is the standard form of a polynomial, and the a refers to the coefficient of x squared, the b refers to the coefficient of x, and c stands for the constant, or the number that stands alone without an x. Okay, now your method is this, and that is that the value of a times c should be multiplied, and then the factors that you find that equal a times c should add up to b, or sum to b. Okay, so we know that a is 6 and c is 5, and 6 times 5 is 30. Now we're going to look for factors of a times c that are going to sum to b, which is 17, really, not 17x, although we will be going there. Okay, now the easiest way to do that, of course, is by starting with this, 30 and 1, okay? Because those are factors. Now they sum to 31, correct? All right, then we're going to just cut 30 in half, and we're going to make it 15. And we know that 15 times 2 is 30, okay? And these sum to 17. So we have found what we're looking for right there on our second try of factoring. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to replace this middle term with these two terms. So we're going to have 6x squared plus 15x plus 2x plus that original 5. Now you can see that 17x equals 15x and 2x, okay? And then we're going to take the first two terms and then the second two terms, and we're going to look for a GCF in this first set. So the GCF of 6x squared and 15x is going to be 3x. And you can see from that 3x times 2x plus 3x times 5 is going to be equal to 6x squared plus 15x. Then we're going to put a plus sign and we're going to look at this next set. Okay? Now we look at 2x plus 5 and there is no GCF except for 1, right? So we're going to go ahead and pull that 1 out. And you can see that I now have both of them. Both of my GCFs are now being followed by the exact same set of parentheses. That's what you're looking for. Okay, now you're going to take your GCFs and you're just going to add them together in one set. And you're going to take this other set, 2x plus 5, and now we have our two binomials that are the factors of 6x squared plus 17x plus 5. Now to check it, I'm going to just do FOIL, just to prove to you that we have indeed found the correct answer. The first term times the first term, 6x squared. We end up with 15x, we end up with 2x, and we end up with 5, okay? And of course these add up to 17x, so we know that we have indeed found our factors. Let's do another one. Okay, let's say we have this problem, 7x squared plus 12x minus 4, okay? Our value for A is this 7. Our value for B is the 12, and our value for C is actually negative 4. Okay, so we're looking for factors of A times C, or 7 times negative 4, which is negative 28, that when we add them together, they're going to sum to B, or add up to equal that middle term. And again, we'll start with factors of negative 28. Now, because our 12x, or our middle term, is positive, and we know that we have a negative times a positive to equal negative 28, we know that because this ends up being a positive middle term, we know our larger term is going to be the positive one, and the smaller term, or factor, is going to be the negative one. So we're going to put that we have 28 and negative 1. Those could be factors of negative 28. They add up to 27. So we know that that's not the correct one. Now we're going to cut 28 in half and make it 14. And we'll double the 1 and make it negative 2. Okay? So now we have 14 and negative 2, and that does equal 12 when we add those together. So we're going to take that value and we're going to just plug it in. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so we're going to have the 7x squared, and we're going to take this 14 that we have found, okay, and we're going to make that a middle term, make it a positive 14x. We're going to take the negative 2, make it negative 2x, and then we're going to bring our last term up there, which is negative 4, okay? Now I'm going to zip this away for a minute so we can just focus on this. And now we're going to factor by grouping. So we're going to look at the first two, 7x squared plus 14x, and we're going to look for a GCF. Well, you can see that 7 and x would be a GCF, okay? And what would our leftovers be? In other words, what times 7x gives me 7x squared? I would have to put an x there. Okay, what times 7x gives me 14x? Well, simply 2. All right, now I'm going to put the minus sign here, okay? And I'm going to look for a GCF. So a factor of 2x and 4 is going to be negative 2. What are my leftovers? X, because negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x. Negative 2 times positive 2 gives me a negative 4. Now you can see again that that group that I get in parentheses is equal to each other. So I just take my GCFs that I've gotten, 7x minus 2, I put that in parentheses, and then I use the second set of parentheses because they match, and I just put that there. And I end up with 7x minus 2 times x plus 2. And you can tell that if I did my FOIL to check it, I'd get 7x squared, I'd get 14x, I'd get negative 2x, and I'd get negative 4. And these add up to 12x And my original equation, 7x squared plus 12x minus 4, matches. So I've done my work correctly. I hope that you can find this method to be easier and methodical, taking out a lot of the guesswork. It is called the ABC method and factoring by grouping, okay? And really, when you find the first set that goes in parentheses, you should find exactly the same set to go in the second set of parentheses when you're pulling out your GCF. If you don't, then you have a problem. Well, you don't have a problem, but maybe you've made a mistake. So enjoy factoring by grouping. I hope it takes some of the guesswork out of it and just makes your life easier.